Get ready to embrace debate. First Take starts now.
Fight you've been waiting for. It's here.
It's finally on.
Your hands can't hit what your eyes can't see.
Pacquiao.
Mayweather Jr, baby.
Whatever needed to get done, the man got done.
He is chicken.
Whatever needed to get done, the man got done.
Floyd can't punch.
He's a boxing
Magician.
I don't know. I'm not scared of no fight.
Scared.
Magician.
Case closed. Is afraid of getting hit in the face.
I'm the best.
Are you kidding me?
I'm wrong.
Floyd is afraid. Does he have punching power?
Are you serious?
No!
Money, Mayweather, we pay you. Floyd is a man. Your hands can't hit what your eyes can't see. Flow like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Your hands can't hit what your eyes can't see.
Yeah.
Mayweather Jr, baby.
Good morning, everyone. We are live at the MGM Grand. The biggest fight in recent memory, some say of the century, will be happening at this location Saturday, May 2nd. First Take is here, leading up to the big day. The crowd, obviously, is excited, as are we. You see our Team Mayweather, Team Pacquiao shirts. It looks lovely. Thank you. So, as usual, they show us so much love. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the love. We really do. On behalf of Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, I'm Carrie Champion. Welcome to First Take on the Road, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Carrie Champion,
Yes, kind sir.
allow me to start the show by saying I am so happy this morning because my San Antonio Spurs just won a crucial Game 5 at Staples. You can boo all you want. And I'm so happy because Stephen A. Smith is going to lose again today right here in Las Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah. You better cheer him now because this is going to be your last hope.
It's interesting that you say that, Skip
Yeah.
Bayless, because the one thing Floyd and I have in common is that in Vegas, I am undefeated.
Are you?
Just so you know. You're
That
lucky.
is-
You're
that
lucky.
is not what I heard.
You're lucky you're even
I
allowed
heard it
on the premises.
The streets that that's not true.
The streets.
The streets told me that it's
DJ
not the
Khaled
case.
told you.
Yeah,
Those are your sources?
The streets
DJ
are the-
Khaled now?
Yeah,
The streets.
yeah, the streets
They
told
don't
me
love you
you
no
have
more.
lost here
They don't
before.
love you no more.
DJ Khaled, we still
Whatever,
love you.
please.
You're welcome on the show anytime. Meanwhile, let me tell you who will be on the show today along with Skip and Stephen A. We have our boxing aficionado, Teddy Atlas, will join us. He will break down the fight for us. We also have a former middleweight champion, Bernard Hopkins. Did he call you one time on air? Yeah. He will be here. So let's get started, shall we? In honor of the big fight, I'm going to let you guys know I'll be ringing the bell every so often. So this is round one. Shall we begin? Okay, so yesterday, Mayweather and Pacquiao held their press conferences. Floyd is very, very boisterous, so to speak, and he says that he's never studied any video of Pacquiao, he's never watched any film, and that what he's going to do these next couple of days is just chill out. So let's take a listen, and the gentleman will react.
I'm in, top condition. Pretty sure he's in top condition, so we'll just have to see. What do I do for the next 4 days? Watch movies.
Movies of Manny?
No, just regular movies. Just relax and just wait for the fight to come. I'm always confident in myself and my ability. I know what I can do, and we'll just have to see how everything plays out.
So Floyd Mayweather regarded by everyone as pound for pound the best fighter in the world, and so that's what he's going to be doing leading up to this fight. So I'll start with you first, Stephen A. Your reaction to what he had to say, obviously addressing the fact that he doesn't know much about Manny or in terms of his studying him, and he's just going to chill out these next 4 days.
Well, first of all, there's nothing new there. Floyd Mayweather has historically said he pays no attention to his opponents because he believes he's the best on the planet and they need to be paying attention to him. And he prides himself on being able to make adjustments. His belief is that watching film ultimately sets you up to be fooled because what you have seen from a fighter and all their previous fighters, if you study them on film and then they get in the ring with you, they'll know what they did from the past, and then they'll throw a monkey wrench into the game plan, and you find yourself hoodwinked by it because you're studying those films and you set yourself up to be caught out there. So he likes to go in there blind, ready in an impromptu fashion to adjust to what they're going to throw at him on the fly. Having said all of that, he understands the magnitude of the moment, whether he likes it or not. This is the sport of boxing. This is the biggest fight of his life, of his career. He understands the magnitude of it all. And I'm going to get a little, break it down to y'all this way. You know, when brothers are about to throw down and get it on, when you watched him walk out in that crowd yesterday and he just simply went like this and looked at everybody, that's just your way of saying, do not worry about this. I am ready. Don't doubt it for a second. You could see he was in shape in his sweatsuit, okay? Even before he's taken off, before the weigh-in or whatever. The brother's ready. It's just going to be that kind of thing. He understands what he's going up against. All bloviating and boisterousness aside, this is the biggest fight of his life. And when you embrace that reality, particularly in the fight game, it is rare in the day that you are on his level and you don't show up ready. He will be ready Saturday night. And Manny Pacquiao had damn well better be ready. That's the message I got from yesterday. He better be ready.
You know,
Okay.
I had a little different view of Floyd Mayweather Jr. yesterday.
I'm so surprised.
In the latest of his interviews, many of which were given to one Stephen A. Smith in an all-access piece that has run in nauseating fashion
Because you get
over
tired
and
of
over
you
and
don't want to
over
see his
again.
face anymore?
Yeah,
by the way,
I am so tired of all access with Floyd. I have seen and
Because it's
heard
all
enough.
access with Stephen A.
By the way, there were things that you haven't seen, but it's going to air on ABC Saturday afternoon before the Kentucky Derby. Just so you know, at 4:30 on ABC.
Stephen A. Smith, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
By the way, you did a sensational job. I'm just sick and tired of hearing that brother talk about all of that stuff. Now, to me, Floyd of late has come across as if he's trying a little too hard to be a little too cool about this fight. And I'm here to remind you that Manny Pacquiao and Freddie Roach have come after Floyd Mayweather Jr. the way he has never been come after by any other opponent he has ever fought. Is that fair?
That is true.
To me, it has kept Floyd a little off balance when he responds in interviews, to the point that he doesn't seem convincing to me anymore. It's almost like a kid on the playground who is being come after by this guy and this guy and this guy, and finally you come back with what I find to be a lame excuse, a lame comeback. That's what yesterday felt like to me, because Pacquiao and Freddie Roach have come after Floyd with no respect whatsoever. And to me, they're not the typical pre-fight, sort of boxer bluster barbs that get thrown out. We see it with so many other fighters. These are from the heart. These are coming after Floyd because of his domestic violence history, because of what a poor role model they believe he has been for the sport of boxing. Mm-hmm. And to Manny, he continues to say time after time that to him, Floyd is just another good fighter that he's about to face. Not a great fighter, but a good one. And to me, it's starting to mess up Floyd's cadence a little bit here, where it's gotten him a little off rhythm when he tries to respond to the media, as he did yesterday. So once again, he said he has watched no tape of Manny Pacquiao. Do you really believe he's watched zero tape? It's just hard for me to believe. An opponent of this caliber in a fight of this magnitude, and you have watched zero tape, yet he always talks about how reckless Pacquiao is when he attacks. How would he know?
Yeah.
Even watch Pacquiao fight one time?
Time out. I told you, number one, I told both of y'all that when Manny Pacquiao got knocked out by Juan Manuel Marquez, got put to sleep.
He got put to sleep.
Within an hour, I got a call from Floyd Mayweather. And he was talking to me for about an hour about the fight. So he never said he hasn't seen Pacquiao. Let's watch the video of this knockout.
You are wrong.
I mean, did y'all see that? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah. You see that? You see that? That's right there. Just in case you forgot, Skip, that happened. That happened. But in all seriousness,
is that all you got?
No,
seriously, is that all you got? That's all you're hanging on to.
Well,
is the fourth fight, the fourth fight with Marquez, a fight that Manny was winning convincingly on every card.
I want to get to another point, even though that is a lot to go on, but that's okay. The point that I'm trying to make to you is that he clearly has seen the man fight. But when you watch a fight, it's different than watching film, rewinding, studying. That's what he's saying he's not doing. He's not saying he hasn't seen Manny Pacquiao. He's saying that he isn't watching film and studying tape. And let me take this to another level, because I'm going to break it down for you in a way that I think that you can relate to. I've often said this about Skip Bayless, a guy that's been a reporter for over 40 years. There's a lot of fools out there that think that they can debate with you in terms of your knowledge. They don't understand you will eat them alive. Trying to attack Skip Bayless's knowledge is a mistake, y'all. I'm here to tell y'all.
I appreciate
you
that.
have to attack his perspective. That's what you have to do. So I say all of that to say to you, it's like you sitting across the debate table, right? And you're sitting there and you got your notes and you're going to come out with a particular subject that you want to debate. And then somebody sitting across from you dares to challenge your knowledge. All of a sudden, everything that Skip Bayless is, and we're accustomed to seeing him on a daily basis, Skip all of a sudden leans back. It's like, is that right? That's Floyd with Pacquiao. Freddie Roach chirping. Manny Pacquiao chirping. Floyd's going like this. I'm talking smack. I'm marketing and promoting the fight. We all going to get paid here. Let's do this. And then all of a sudden, they chirping and getting personal. And Floyd's like, oh. So it's like that. All right, now it's not about this anymore. Now I'm going to whip your you-know-what. Who the hell you think you talking to? And that is, in my opinion, because we won't know for sure until Saturday night in all fairness, because Manny Pacquiao is great. But in my opinion, that is what you are seeing from Floyd as we speak. That melancholy, or just being a bit reserved, rather, and a bit laid back. It's not laid back. It's him stepping back like, do you really understand what you are doing? I told you, when I was with him for 7.5 hours, it took 3 hours. He was like reserved for 3 hours. And then I got tired and I kept pressing. And he said, I'll tell you what I said to him. You don't know what you done got yourself into. That's what's going on here. You are talking about a man who is considered best pound for pound in the world, and you are talking smack to him like he's just another fighter. Floyd, and then getting on him personally, bringing up domestic violence, bringing up his character, talking about how he don't deserve to be at the top of his game, lambasting him at every turn, making commercials mocking him, having them to redo different commercials, mocking him. He's like, oh, really? Oh, I'm about to. That's what you're seeing, and that's what I believe we're going to see Saturday night.
Oh, stop it! Just stop it! Thank you. Time out. I appreciate the comparison you just made between me and Floyd Mayweather Jr. But there's one huge difference. I'm not about to be 47-1. That's the big difference. I'm not about to be 47-1.
Some would argue that you've been 47-1 for quite a while.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
All right.
Okay, so here's the point. All that you're saying about Floyd, it took 3 hours for him to get to that boiling point of, do they know who they're talking to? They are winning the mind game. They are getting inside his head and under his skin like no opponent ever has. And finally, Floyd was left just sputtering yesterday, and the final quote that I read from him, we didn't have it on tape, was, everybody's plan is to come forward and throw a lot of punches. It hasn't worked for 19 years and 47 fights, period, end of quote. What he is leaving out is he has never fought a man whose foot speed is quicker than Floyd's, whose hand speed is as quick as Floyd's, whose mind is as quick as Floyd's,
Really?
and whose punching power is much stronger than Floyd Mayweather Jr. So you know, you can't. We got a Mayweather crowd here. I'm gonna have to come out there in a minute. If you guys,
Hold her back now. Don't do it. I'm kidding.
Look, you can't dismiss Manny Pacquiao as just one of 47, just another one of 47.
Sure.
And that's what Floyd is left to do, because upstairs he's thinking, who are these people? How can they not respect me just a little bit? Because they respect him zero.
I love how you're talking about how they're messing with Floyd's mind. Did it ever occur to you that the reason they're doing it is because they know it's the only shot they've got? How about that notion?
Right.
How about the fact that you got to worry? It's like, damn, what we got to do is we got to incite him, provoke him to come after us.
You say 47-1. That one is considered the second best fighter in the world. That's Manny Pacquiao. Let's go to the other corner. He is, again, widely regarded as the second best fighter in the world. And he, yesterday, spoke. We have the quotes here, what he had to say. He said, I cannot say he is that difficult an opponent. My confidence right now is different than the other fights I had. I feel excited. This is it. I have to prove something. I know I'm going to win the fight in the ring, so relax. So in his way, he's saying he has no issues. He's chilling. Skip Bayless, your take.
Stephen A. Smith, I find Manny Pacquiao, I found him especially yesterday to be amazingly convincing with what he had to say. Again, this is not your typical, predictable, pre-fight boxer bluster that we're listening to. This is not Manny Pacquiao leaning into the cameras yesterday and saying, I'm coming for you, Floyd. That's what we usually hear. We heard very matter-of-fact Manny Pacquiao saying, I cannot say he is that difficult of a fighter. Now, it's a strong statement, but he said it matter-of-factly. I know I am going to win. He said matter-of-factly. My confidence right now is different than it's been for any other fight. Matter-of-factly. There is serenity about Manny Pacquiao. There is a certain strange peace about Manny Pacquiao. Is he deluding himself? No. I think he's looking at a 38-year-old opponent who in his last 3 fights has shown some age and definitely some vulnerability. So I think he just truly, utterly, matter-of-factly believes that right now, at age 36, he is the better boxer than 38-year-old Floyd Mayweather Jr., and he is just telling you the truth straight from his heart. I am buying and believing it.
This is definitely a Mayweather crowd.
First of all, let's address several points that you made, which are absolutely ludicrous. Number one, you talked about Manny Pacquiao and how calm and matter-of-factly he spoke. And you're acting like that's an aberration. I personally remember Manny Pacquiao coming into studio with all of us, and he seemed quite calm as he was sitting right next to Juan Manuel Marquez. It was Juan Manuel Marquez that had to literally raise his hand on national television and said, hello, guys.
About me first.
I'm here.
Yeah.
He has to get through me first.
Yeah.
Manny Pacquiao was literally talking past him, looking past him. What I'm trying to say to you is, how does it get more relaxed than that?
Yeah.
So when you bring up the word relax as if it's something favorable towards Manny Pacquiao, maybe he should adopt a level of urgency unless he wants to get put to sleep again. Because if you think for 1 second that Juan Manuel Marquez, who Floyd Mayweather beat with no warm-up, straight out of prison, okay, and came and waxed his behind, if you think that man can box better or hit harder than Floyd Mayweather, somebody needs to talk to you. Let's get Dr. Phil with his Manny Pacquiao loving self on here to give you a psychology lesson. Number one. Number two, when we talk about the same guy, Manny Pacquiao, who again was put to sleep, and feel free to show that tape.
Yeah, let's see it again.
I
want to see it.
Why bother? I mean, listen,
this is all you got to hang on to.
That's all I need.
Enjoy it.
That's all I need to hang on to. I mean, does it get? Here it is. Look at it. Oh my goodness. Oh Lord. I don't. A matter of fact. Stop showing it. I don't want to do that to Manny Pacquiao. I really, really don't. So the point that I'm trying to make to you, in all seriousness, is this. When you look at a Manny Pacquiao and you're talking about matter-of-factly and you're talking about relaxed, it's almost as if you think that's going to work in his favor. And I find that shocking because if nothing else, if this were the UFC or if this was some street fighting with a Kimbo Slice or somebody where knockouts were required, okay?
You mean some backyard fight, right?
Some backyard fight. That would be different. This is boxing. And you're talking about going in the ring. If nothing else Floyd has in his favor, it's his superiority as a boxer and a defensive wizard. So to talk about him as if somebody could come in the ring all blasé and take him out, perhaps you should think about the profound effect you're having on Manny Pacquiao, Bob Arum is having on Manny Pacquiao, and all of these fools who love Manny Pacquiao so much in this fight. You should be thinking about who you're going up against. Like I told you before, when it comes to a brother, and you sit up there, and you roll up on him in such disrespectful and dismissive fashion, there is usually a price that's paid, and Floyd is not going to take the base, because in the ring, Floyd has proven to be smarter than Manny Pacquiao. Okay. You're not giving Manny Pacquiao, you're not giving Floyd credit for his intelligence in the ring.
You know, I want to thank you, Stephen A. Smith, for once and for all making my point for me, because you're exactly right. When Manny Pacquiao was in the First Take studio in Bristol, Connecticut, and sat right here to you with that guy sitting there who was about to knock him out, all that Manny wanted to talk about was Floyd Mayweather Jr. I have told you again and again for the last 5 long years, all Manny Pacquiao has wanted is Floyd Mayweather Jr. He did not want to fight Marquez for a 4th time. It bored him. It wasted his time. It wasted his energy because Floyd was running and running and running from him. And he finally, Floyd got shamed into having to fight Manny Pacquiao this coming Saturday night because he couldn't live with the fact that he wanted to retire and everybody was going to ask him for the rest of his life, why did you keep running from Manny? So now Floyd has no choice but to fight Manny Pacquiao, who has been gunning for him for 5 years. It is on, it is here, and Pacquiao is so ready for this.
Where you and I differ is that I'm not denying any of your points, other than Floyd running, because I don't think Floyd was running. Outside of that, I'm not denying any of your points. I'm saying the very points that you're using for Manny Pacquiao's advantage, I'm saying is advantage Floyd. Y'all messed with him. You called him out. The dude has made over $500 million. He wanted to retire, live in the sunshine, chill out, and all of this stuff, you know, and you messed with him. And he's listening to you talk about he's running. He's listening to Manny Pacquiao mocking him on national television with these commercials and all of this stuff. You done started something now. And what I'm trying to say to you is that all of those things you take into consideration, you have gone after a brother and you have gone about the business of trying to humiliate him. And Manny Pacquiao, like a fool, has jumped in and he has decided he wants to make a fool of Floyd Mayweather. And that's the difference. If this was Skip, hold on. If this was Skip Bayless saying this, that's different. But for Manny Pacquiao himself, he's going to fight me. He's going to fight me. Really? You really want to come at me like that? You done started something. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So we got the same issues, but we're at different places.
You, Stephen A. Smith, are proof positive, as you represent so beautifully Floyd Mayweather Jr., that the pre-fight mind game has been won by Manny Pacquiao. Thank you very much.
So let me ask you a question. Why is it that I'm representing Floyd Mayweather, but you're not representing Manny Pacquiao? You're the one that called him Chicken Mayweather. I did. You're the one that set up there.
You want me to fight him on Saturday?
No. Are you available?
I'll fight him.
Are you available?
What I'm saying to you is, I'm a boxing fan, and I happen to believe wholeheartedly Floyd Mayweather is going to win this fight.
First Take is on the road for the big fight, May 2nd. We're here Wednesday through Friday at the MGM Grand Pool Complex, the same venue that will hold the fight of the century. We have Team Mayweather, Team Pacquiao. Everyone's representing who they feel will win the fight. They do this for free, folks. They just come and hang out with us. To the NBA playoffs, shall we? Spurs won last night. They go up 3-2 in the series. Tim Duncan scored 21 points, but there was a tip, perhaps, that actually helped them win the game. They're talking about DeAndre Jordan. They said he jumped up too quick. Tipped it. He did. You agree? Okay. Tipped it in. And now, obviously, the Spurs head back to San Antonio for Game 6. It's a 3-2 lead. Skip Bayless, you watched the game last night. I'm pretty sure you watched the game last night. I'm not for sure.
Yes.
You might have
It
watched.
took 5 more years off my life.
Oh, but that's okay.
Yes.
I don't know if you thought they would get this. And you're still not sure. But let's talk about DeAndre Jordan. Did he cost them the game?
I can't go quite that far because obviously there are 4.9 seconds left. So if the shot had counted, my Spurs would have had 4.9 seconds to figure out how to score 2 points to win the game. Maybe they could have, maybe they couldn't have. They've been pretty awful in close games late this year. Stephen A. Smith, I'm here to tell you today, I'll use the word that Manu Ginobili used after the game. My Spurs were very lucky to win that basketball game. I thought Blake Griffin's shot was about to fall in and of itself. I thought of its own volition it would have fallen through the hoop and given the Clippers a 2-point lead with 4.9 seconds left. And DeAndre Jordan went up and made the wrong play at the wrong time. The referees got it right. Another Clipper got it wrong in the wrong moment. But too often, that's what we have seen from these Clippers. Witness Blake Griffin at the end of Game 2. His unforced error of a turnover cost them that game. This play cost them this game. And my Spurs won a second, or not won, they stole a second straight game at Staples Center in this series because they do that much too often. They are better than my Spurs. I'm here to admit it. Wow. This is the best offensive team in the NBA, number 1 in offense, and they are playing so much better defense than I've ever seen the Clippers play. But my Spurs, they don't have the old Houston Rockets heart of a champion. They have the mind of a champion. They figure out how to make the play at the moment to win the game, and somehow the inferior team is now up 3-2 in this series. And somehow Blake Griffin, who has been an unstoppable beast for the first 3 quarters of all 5 games, has gone in the tank in the fourth quarters. I'm sorry. He shot 1 for 9 last night in the fourth quarter. He missed 2 huge free throws, and he had 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter. So in the first 5 games of this series, Blake has shot 53% in the first 3 quarters and 20% in the fourth quarter and overtime of these 5 games. That's just the difference between these two teams. I've told you before, it's some basketball intangible. It's veteran mentality. It's been there, know how to do that. And my Spurs pulled it off again, and I could go on and on about how big Tim Duncan played 39 minutes at age 39. He was the difference in the game for my Spurs to me. But they fell behind 27-13 on the road. It should have been over. I was about ready to say, maybe I'm going to get some sleep tonight for the first time. Maybe I'm going to turn this off. And somehow Patty Mills saved another day. He comes in and shoots the lights out, and I look up, and they're ahead by a point. How did they do that? It's just how the Spurs do their business. They went about their business last night. Do I completely trust them to close it out tomorrow night in San Antonio? I don't. Maybe you do. You got Spurs in 6, and I assume you're sticking with that.
I am sticking with that, and it's amazing because you practically gave up on the Spurs before Game 4. But I will tell you this about your Spurs. You get emotional with the Spurs. We all know this. You're not objective when it comes to them because it hurts you. It just breaks your heart, crying out loud.
You got it.
I always feel like I need to console you. It just takes away from the show because I can't sit up here and get on you when the Spurs mess up. I feel like I need to give you a hug. I mean, it just takes away from the show.
Yeah.
But having said all of that, let's be real about something here. The real issue here with the Clippers are 3 things. Number 1, as great as Blake Griffin is, he still has another level to go because he's not a closer.
That's true.
When you go 1 for 9 in the fourth quarter, in a playoff game that's going to put the reigning defending NBA champions on the brink of elimination, if they lose to you on your home court in a pivotal game 5, and you are playing lights out, and then all of a sudden the fourth quarter arrives and you can't hit the ocean, for crying out loud. You can't hit the ocean if you're standing on Venice Beach. That's a problem. All right, that's what happened with Blake Griffin. Number one. Number two, the predictable also happened because we learned yet again that DeAndre Jordan can't hit free throws, shooting 7 of 16 from the free throw line. That was pivotal. Yes, that play was pivotal, and it cost him the game when he tipped in and what have you. And, old habits die hard. He's been doing that all year long. He messed up this time around. Absence of discipline in the moment. I'm a fan of DeAndre Jordan, but good Lord have mercy. You just got to know better, and more importantly, you especially need to know better when you ain't making free throws. That's putting them in precarious situations. But the most pivotal point in this series, Skip, has been the bench. When the bench plays well, the Clippers win. When they don't, they don't. Last night, they got outscored 48-17. Austin Rivers, who we raved about in Game 4, 17 minutes, 16 points, coming off the bench for his daddy, shot 1 of 4 and hit 2 points yesterday. 1 of 4, hit 2 points yesterday. Jamal Crawford, my man, you know how I love how Jamal boogies on everybody. You know what I'm saying? He's the and-1 champion as far as I'm concerned. Brother shot 0 for 6 from three-point range, 1 for 7 from the field. That's not going to cut it. There's been several games this series. He simply hasn't shown up. The 2 games that the Clippers won this year, he showed up. Game 1,
he did.
Game 3, he showed. Game 4, I'm sorry. He showed up. They won those games. All right? And we all know he's pretty much the only guy. Glenn Big Baby Davis came in there, gave them quality minutes last night. But you need at least 2 guys off the Clippers bench that you can rely upon. And they didn't show up last night.
You've been saying they're one piece away. So
again, and I think they're one piece away, but they're not there. I picked them in the preseason to go to the finals because I thought that Doc Rivers was going to get a piece before the trading deadline because he walked into the season knowing that he needed a 3. Like, for example, they tried to get Paul Pierce.
They did.
All right, now, and you may not remember this, may not even have paid attention to this. Sam Cassell, who I believe is head coaching material. He's going to be a head coach in this league someday. He's incredibly passionate about it and what have you. Keep in mind that he was an assistant coach on the Washington Wizards. And Ernie Grunfeld and the Wizards didn't want to let him go, didn't want to let him out of his contract. But you know something? Sam Cassell is tight with Paul Pierce and ultimately facilitated Paul Pierce arriving in D.C. And that's how he was let out in D.C. to go to the Clippers. Because he's going to have a better shot at being a head coach, coaching under Doc Rivers than coaching under Randy Whitman. Let's just call it like it is. My point to you is that Paul Pierce is what the Clippers needed. They needed somebody like a Paul Pierce, somebody that you can give the ball to when it matters and sit there and say, take me there, somebody that's going to make those big-time shots, then look at the crowd and say, that's why they brought me here. That's why I'm here. They don't have that with the Clippers outside of Chris Paul, whose job is not only to run the show, but to be Mr. Everything for the Clippers. This guy, Chris Paul, has got the toughest defensive assignment. Remember, he'll have to guard a Tony Parker. Tony Parker ain't guarded him. He'll have to guard a Steph Curry. They ain't guarded him. Chris Paul usually got the Kawhi Leonards of the world, the Klay Thompsons of the world defending him. And this guy still has to find a way to score, assist, and defend while playing 38 to 40 minutes a night. You need a backup point guard. You need somebody to come off your bench. And you need a closer, which Blake Griffin is not.
Okay, now that's a powerful statement you just made about Blake Griffin.
That's right.
That's powerful.
He's not a closer yet. He hasn't proven to be a closer.
Boy, that yet is a big yet.
I believe in Blake Griffin, and I believe the sky's the limit with him future-wise. But the fact is, you don't arrive as a star on the NBA until you have proven you have the ability to close. He has not proven he can close. And that's the problem with Blake Griffin right now.
And my Spurs have 10 closers, and they just pass it around from night to night. You do it, you do it, and you do it. Okay, here's my bottom line stat from what happened last night. Tony Parker is injured. He just drags his Achilles around the court. He ain't Tony Parker right now. Tiago Splitter, who is the key to their defensive schemes, he shouldn't even be on the court right now. They ice his cap as soon as he gets off. He should be playing 0 minutes. I think Aaron Baines is going to play most of the minutes when they go home tomorrow night. Yet, the Clippers, with a 27-14 early advantage. Wound up shooting 1 for 14 from the three-point line. 1 for 14 from three. If you make 2 of those other shots, just 2 of those, we might be having a different conversation right now. So is that the Spurs defense? I think not, because they all look pretty open to me. Pretty good looks. It's something about the psyche of the team. And in the end, it's up to Chris Paul to get them home. He's got to be that guy, and I know you say he's only 6 feet tall, but if they're going to win this game tomorrow night and survive, it's up to him to do what he did Sunday.
But what I'm trying to say to you, Skip, is I'm going to say it until the cows come home. It's unfair. And the reason why it's unfair, if you are LeBron, if you are Kobe, if you are D. Wade healthy, a Kevin Durant, somebody who's a freak of nature in their own way, not just because of their abilities, but the size to go along with it, that's different. Chris Paul is literally a quintessential prototypical point guard, a pass first, shoot second guy. This dude will come
wasn't
out
Sunday, was he?
Because he had to be something else.
But you were raving about him on Monday.
But what I'm trying to say to you is that's one game. There's no way that you can go to somebody and count on them to do that for a series. As great as Isaiah Thomas was, and as much as somebody like an Isaiah Thomas would hold a Chris Paul or anybody else accountable, Isaiah had Dumas, he had Benny the Microwave Johnson, the Lambert, Mahorn, Dantley, and then Mark Aguirre. Yeah. You got to look at Chris Paul.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
First take on the road. We're still at the MGM Grand Tour Complex. Prior to break, we received a shock. Bayless, actually, you almost fell out of your chair. You almost fell out of your chair. I mean, it was a big deal. We have the Oracle of Boxing with us, Teddy Atlas. Teddy, we discussed this in the morning meeting. We were under the impression that you were going to pick Mayweather. So it's official now. Manny Pacquiao will win, because if you say so, it's a wrap.
I don't... Come on, Pacquiao fans.
Listen, this man has been with ESPN since 1998. He is a seasoned journalist. He is speaking from expertise. So please tell us why you believe Manny will win the fight.
Listen, the safest, he wants to know why. Should I turn to you or tell you directly? All right, I'll tell you. All right. Listen, the easiest pick, the safest pick would be Mayweather. There's a reason why up on the boards in this betting city, he's the favorite. It's kind of like when he's a counterpuncher. He lays back. He doesn't take many chances. You know, he's a paradox. He's really an interesting guy, Floyd, because he's had a lot of risk outside the ring, but inside the ring, that's his haven. And that's where he plays it safe. And it's got him to 47-0. Who can argue with it? He's a guy that lives off defense, lives off counterpunching. And when we were kids, you ever remember that maybe there was somebody on top of the hill and you tried to get up that hill? And they were throwing things, hopefully not rocks and stuff like that, but they were throwing things at you, and they always had the edge. It was kind of hard to get up that hill because they could get to you before you could get to them. Well, in that way, you should probably pick Mayweather. Because Mayweather is the guy who's laying back, he's looking to counter punch, he's got that southpaw kill with the right hand, he throws it fast, he throws it straight, he understands when to throw it, he's got the timing, and when Pacquiao is going to come forward, he's going to be that guy on top of the hill, looking, when he takes all the risk, he's going to look to land. But, and there's a but, if Freddie and him are able to understand what I think I would do if I was in the camp, I would take that one thing away from him. If they can do that, they can win the fight. What they have to do is, when you get to that front door and that right hand's going to come, just when you get to that area that fire zone, where if you take another inch, the punch is coming. Just before you're there, where you're outside that door, if you knock on that door, and the knock in boxing is to feint. If you knock on that door and you're not there, that right hand will come to that door and there'll be nobody there. and then you're safe to come in. That's what he's got to do. Pacquiao has to knock on that door, get that right hand out of the way, get rid of that kid on top of the hill throwing that junk. Fade him, get the right hand out of the way, and then come in. Then. It's all right. That's all right. That's okay.
Let my man finish.
Listen,
We'll get to Stephen A.
Stephen's having a moment.
Yeah.
That's okay. Let him have his moment.
Yes, of course.
That's all right. But listen, Pacquiao, you have to put tangible stuff with it. So here's the tangible stuff. Pacquiao has the hand speed.
Sure.
He's comparable. And some people think he's faster. I'm going to say it's even. He's got the hand speed. He's got the volume punching. And the greatest strength of Mayweather. And he's a terrific fighter. There's no denying that. Both these fighters are terrific. But Mayweather's greatest strength, his greatest strength is also his greatest weakness, his defense. Because sometimes he will go into that defense a little too long. And that's where my pick comes in. That's where Pacquiao has the hand speed, has the volume punching when he's going and he's dishing and dashing and he's slipping and he's sliding and he's not doing what he's doing. He's not laying on the ropes. He's moving his head. And when he's doing that and not firing back, there's moments when he's too defensive and too much of anything can hurt you. We all understand that. There's moments where Pacquiao with the fast hands, where Pacquiao with the volume punches, the punches and bunches, and the most important thing, more important than the hand speed, his feet. Because you know what? Canelo, you guys are real boxing fans. When Canelo got whitewashed, you know that one judge, that corrupt judge we got rid of, that had it even? You know, that aside from that, Canelo lost every round. Mayweather won every round. But people said Canelo was too slow with his hands. But it wasn't that. His hands weren't that slow. His feet were in cement. Pacquiao has the quick feet. What good is it having fast hands if you don't have the feet to get you there to deliver those hands? Preach. Pacquiao has the foot speed to get there to deliver those hands. Pacquiao can out-hustle him. Pacquiao can outwork him. Pacquiao in those spots, Pacquiao can out-hustle him, outwork him, and he can steal rounds where he can grab a decision.
Time out before you ask this question. What do you say what Mayweather says? He says he's a reckless fighter. Pacquiao's a reckless fighter, is he?
Listen, there's an element to it. Of course, I just said that. There's an element to his aggression that's reckless. When he comes in that front door, sometimes he gets a little antsy with that power left hand. He looks to throw it from a little too soon, a little too far away. He doesn't have the patience like my man over here. You know, wait, Harry. But sometimes he gets reckless, and Pacquiao will reach with that left hand a little bit. That is the moment Mayweather is waiting for.
Okay.
But that's what trainers are there for. And that's what Freddie Roach is there for. And that's what this is there for. That Pacquiao looks at the film, sees that, understands it the same way as I understand it, and they come up with an adjustment. They come up with an idea where they knock on the door, and instead of coming in, get that right hand and then come in the side door. Use those quick feet to get angles and come in off the side where that southpaw killer, that right hand, that timing punch, that counter punch cannot be effective.
Kerry, this is so good. I'm going to vote that Stephen A. not be allowed to speak in this segment. He is preaching wisdom from Teddy Atlas, the oracle.
Teddy! I gotta give it up for Teddy!
Take your turn.
The floor is yours, young man.
You know,
take your turn.
I'm kind of big on the lecture circuit, and when I give my speeches, I always use a line, and I would ask everybody to let me finish the sentence. I am brilliant because I know I'm not. I learn from those who are. When it comes to boxing, this is one of the people who taught me the game. I've been listening to Teddy Atlas for over 20 years. So when you and I have had conversations in the past, and you'll educate me, and I'll listen and learn because I know you know what I don't know.
But the student, the pupil, does learn from the teacher from time to time.
Here we go.
And I recall on many occasions when you talk about somebody taking out Floyd, you point out these things. But it didn't happen because the very thing that you pointed out that what people needed to do, somehow, for some reason, they got into the ring against them. And Teddy Atlas couldn't help them then. He gave them all the advice. He gave them the counsel. He gave them the tutelage. He gave them the ingredients, the recipe. And somehow, some way, they just threw in just a little bit too much paprika, a little bit too much salt, a little bit too much pepper. It just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough.
How do you know what paprika is?
Paprika's good. Check it out. Hold on. Listen to the point. Listen to the point.
My man is good.
What I'm trying to say is good. What I'm trying to say to you is this. Hold on, Teddy. Come back here.
But let me ask one question.
Come to me.
He's my man. I love him. But let me ask one question. Is he? We baking a cake here, or are we talking about fight?
What are we making? Tell us, Teddy.
I'm getting to that.
I want to be here.
I'm getting to that. That's nice. All this cheering is taking the time away from avoiding the real point. The real point that I'm trying to make is this. We can sit there and say all of those things. At some point in time, if you've seen a man 47 times, you figured out what you need to do in order to beat him. The question is, can you pull it off? And what I'm saying to you is this. All of that stuff Teddy just broke down, astutely I might add, doesn't negate the fact that Manny Pacquiao, when you talk about a trainer, Freddie Roach, I'm sorry, wasn't Freddie Roach's trainer when he was in the ring and he got knocked out by Marquez? Wasn't Freddie Roach there? I think he was there. Not only did he train Pacquiao, he was there. Not only that, if you remember the HBO special, leading up to it, Freddie Roach, no, stop it. Freddie Roach said, quote, his manager said, I thought he was dead. Freddie Roach said, well, I didn't think he was dead, but I thought about it for a second. We can talk all we want to, but you know something? You still got to get in the ring and do it. You understand? And that's what it comes down to. This is Floyd we're talking about here. Teddy Atlas is brilliant. But you know something? He can't fight for Manny Pacquiao. He's got to do that himself.
I have one final question for the boxing oracle.
Let me say one thing.
Teddy Atlas.
Don't forget, there was a precedent here in the history of this great sport. There was somebody who was a hell of a heavyweight. His name was Larry Holmes. And he got to 48-0. And he fought somebody named Michael Spinks.
Yep.
And all of a sudden that oath disappeared. There comes a time,
sure,
when sometimes it's the other guy's time.
It didn't disappear with Rocky Marciano. It didn't disappear with Rocky Marciano. When Rocky Marciano stayed undefeated.
Okay.
Teddy.
There comes a time where sometimes time out. Gotta go.
First take on the road. We're still at the MGM Grand Pool Complex. Prior to break, we received a shock. Bayless, actually, you almost fell out of your chair. I mean, it was a big deal. We have the Oracle of Boxing with us, Teddy Atlas. Teddy, we discussed this in the morning meeting. We were under the impression that you were going to pick Mayweather. So it's official now. Manny Pacquiao will win, because if you say so, it's a wrap.
I don't... Come on, Pacquiao.
This man has been with ESPN since 1998. He is a seasoned journalist. He is speaking from expertise. So please tell us why you believe Manny will win the fight.
Listen, the safest, he wants to know why. Should I turn to you and tell you directly? All right, I'll tell you. All right. Listen, the easiest pick, the safest pick would be Mayweather. There's a reason why up on the boards in this betting city, he's the favorite. It's kind of like when he's a counterpuncher. He lays back. He doesn't take many chances. You know, he's a paradox. He's really an interesting guy, Floyd, because he's had a lot of risk outside the ring, but inside the ring, that's his haven. And that's where he plays it safe. And it's got him to 47-0. Who can argue with it? He's a guy that lives off defense, lives off counterpunching. And when we were kids, You ever remember that maybe there was somebody on top of the hill and you tried to get up that hill? And they were throwing things, hopefully not rocks and stuff like that, but they were throwing things at you, and they always had the edge. It was kind of hard to get up that hill because they could get to you before you could get to them. Well, in that way, you should probably pick Mayweather, because Mayweather is the guy who's laying back, he's looking to counter punch, he's got that southpaw killer, the right hand, he throws it fast, he throws it straight, he understands when to throw it, he's got the timing, and when Pacquiao is going to come forward, he's going to be that guy on top of the hill, looking, when he takes all the risk, he's going to look to land. But, and there's a but, if Freddie and him are able to understand what I think I would do if I was in the camp, I would take that one thing away from them. If they can do that, they can win the fight. What they have to do is, when you get to that front door and that right hand's going to come, just when you get to that area that fire zone, where if you take another inch, the punch is coming. Just before you're there, where you're outside that door, if you knock on that door, and the knock in boxing is to feint, if you knock on that door and you're not there, that right hand will come to that door and there'll be nobody there. And then you're safe to come in. That's what he's got to do. Pacquiao has to knock on that door, get that right hand out of the way, get rid of that kid on top of the hill throwing that junk. Feint him, get the right hand out of the way, and then come in. Then, it's all right. That's all right. That's okay.
Let my man finish.
Listen,
We'll get to Stephen A.
Stephen's having a moment.
Yeah.
That's okay. Let him have his moment.
Yes, of course.
That's all right. But listen, Pacquiao, you have to put tangible stuff with it. So here's the tangible stuff. Pacquiao has the hand speed.
Sure. He's
comparable, and some people think he's faster. I'm going to say it's even. He's got the hand speed, he's got the volume punching, and the greatest strength of Mayweather. And he's a terrific fighter. There's no denying that. Both these fighters are terrific. But Mayweather's greatest strength, his greatest strength, is also his greatest weakness, his defense. Because sometimes he will go into that defense a little too long. And that's where my pick comes in. That's where Pacquiao has the hand speed, has the volume punching when he's going and he's dishing and dashing and he's slipping and he's sliding and he's not doing what he's doing. He's not laying on the ropes. He's moving his head. And when he's doing that and not firing back, there's moments when he's too defensive and too much of anything can hurt you. We all understand that. There's moments where Pacquiao with the fast hands, where Pacquiao with the volume punches, the punches and bunches. Yeah. And the most important thing, more important than the hand speed, his feet. Because you know what? Canelo, you guys are real boxing fans. When Canelo got whitewashed, you know that one judge, that corrupt judge we got rid of, that had it even? You know, that aside from that, Canelo lost every round. Mayweather won every round. But people said Canelo was too slow with his hands. But it wasn't that. His hands weren't that slow. His feet were in cement. Pacquiao has the quick feet. What good is it having fast hands if you don't have the feet to get you there to deliver those hands? Preach. Pacquiao has the foot speed to get there to deliver those hands. Pacquiao can out-hustle. Pacquiao can outwork him. Pacquiao in those spots, Pacquiao can out-hustle him, outwork him, and he can steal rounds where he can grab a decision.
Time out before you ask this question. What do you say what Mayweather says? He says he's a reckless fighter. Pacquiao's a reckless fighter.
Listen, there's an element to it. Of course, I just said that. There's an element to his aggression that's reckless. When he comes in that front door, sometimes he gets a little antsy with that power left hand. He looks to throw it from a little too soon, a little too far away. He doesn't have the patience like my man over here. You know, Harry. But sometimes he gets reckless, and Pacquiao will reach with that left hand a little bit. That is the moment Mayweather is waiting for. Okay. But that's what trainers are there for. Okay. And that's what Freddie Roach is there for. And that's what this is there for. That Pacquiao looks at the film, sees that, understands it the same way as I understand it, and they come up with an adjustment. They come up with an idea where they knock on the door And instead of coming in, get that right hand and then come in the side door. Use those quick feet to get angles and come in off the side where that southpaw killer, that right hand, that timing punch, that counter punch cannot be effective.
Kerry, this is so good. I'm gonna vote that Stephen A. not be allowed to speak in this segment.
Yeah, okay. I
He is preaching wisdom from Teddy Atlas, the Oracle.
Teddy! I gotta give it up for Teddy! Thank you.
Your turn.
The floor is yours, young man.
You know,
take your turn.
I'm kind of big on the lecture circuit, and when I give my speeches, I always use a line, and I would ask everybody to let me finish the sentence. I am brilliant because I know I'm not. I learn from those who are. When it comes to boxing, this is one of the people who taught me the game. I've been listening to Teddy Atlas for over 20 years. So you and I have had conversations in the past, and you'll educate me, and I'll listen and learn because I know you know what I don't know. But the student, the pupil, does learn from the teacher from time to time.
Here we go.
And I recall on many occasions when you talk about somebody taking out Floyd, you point out these things. But it didn't happen because the very thing that you pointed out that what people needed to do, somehow, for some reason, they got into the ring against them. And Teddy Atlas couldn't help them then. He gave them all the advice. He gave them the counsel. He gave them the tutelage. He gave them the ingredients, the recipe. And somehow, some way, they just threw in just a little bit too much paprika, a little bit too much salt, a little bit too much pepper. He's good. It just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough.
How do you know what paprika is?
Paprika's good. Check it out. Hold on. Listen to the point.
My man is good.
What I'm trying to say is good. What I'm trying to say to you is this. Hold on, Teddy. Come back here.
But let me ask one question.
Come here. Come to me.
He's my man. I love him. But let me ask one question. Is he? We baking a cake here, or are we talking about a fight?
What are we making? Tell us, Teddy.
I'm getting to that.
I want him to be here.
I'm getting to that. That's nice. All this cheering is taking the time away from avoiding the real point. The real point that I'm trying to make is this. We can sit there and say all of those things. At some point in time, if you've seen a man 47 times, you figured out what you need to do in order to beat him. The question is, can you pull it off? And what I'm saying to you is this. All of that stuff Teddy just broke down, astutely I might add, doesn't negate the fact that Manny Pacquiao, when you talk about a trainer, Freddie Roach, I'm sorry, wasn't Freddie Roach's trainer when he was in the ring and he got knocked out by Marquez? Wasn't Freddie Roach there? I think he was there. Not only did he train Pacquiao, he was there. Not only that, if you remember the HBO special, leading up to it, Freddie Roach said, quote, his manager said, I thought he was dead. Freddie Roach said, well, I didn't think he was dead, but I thought about it for a second. We can talk all we want to, but you know something? You still got to get in the ring and do it. You understand? And that's what it comes down to. This is Floyd we're talking about here. Teddy Atlas is brilliant. But you know something? He can't fight for Manny Pacquiao. He's got to do that himself.
I have one final question for the boxing oracle.
Let me say one thing.
Teddy Atlas.
Don't forget, there was a precedent here in the history of this great sport. There was somebody who was a hell of a heavyweight. His name was Larry Holmes. And he got to 48-0. And he fought somebody named Michael Spinks.
Yep.
And all of a sudden that oath disappeared. There comes a time.
Sure.
When sometimes it's the other guy's time.
It didn't disappear with Rocky Marciano. It didn't disappear with Rocky Marciano. When Rocky Marciano stayed undefeated.
Okay. Teddy.
There comes a time where sometimes time out. Gotta go.
Time out.
Last question.
We're gonna let him hang out with us.
Oh,
and get a break in.
Oh, he's gonna come back?
And he's gonna come back.
All right,
because
that's
this
fine.
discussion is
I haven't even started yet, but that's okay.
Clearly. That's why we need a break. So you can start, sir. First take. Back in a moment, folks. We're on the road for the big fight. May 2nd. MGM Grand. See you in a minute.
Violence is not the answer. Violence has never been the answer.
You're watching ESPN First Take, presented by Bass Pro Shops.
First Take on the road, folks. We're still at the MGM Grand Pool Complex. Floyd Mayweather Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, May 2nd. The days leading up to the fight, we will be here live with special guests to share with you our astute boxing analysis, what the guests believe, and obviously we appreciate the fans for joining us and hanging out with us. Before we went to break, the Oracle of Boxing, Teddy Atlas, broke it down as to why he thought Manny Pacquiao would win. Skip Bayless, your take to join in.
So, Teddy, you have picked Pacquiao. I picked Pacquiao about 5 years ago to win this fight. But I have gone so far as to say that Manny Pacquiao will knock out Floyd Mayweather Jr. Knock him out. Can he? Will he?
Listen, I always have a saying in boxing where punches are born, they're not made. And the natural puncher in this fight is Pacquiao.
Sure.
But he hasn't knocked anyone out in 5 years. And if you look at him, he's a different guy. He's not as big. I no comment. I don't know why.
Still looks good.
But he's not as big. The truth has to be said. You know, the truth has to be said. Floyd, 6 years ago, Floyd did not want that fight because he said, before I take the fight, I want him to take blood testing. I want him to take Olympic-style blood testing to see whether or not he's on PEDs. Now, at that time, Manny refused to do it. There's no proof of anything, but all we know is what we know. And he refused to take it. All I know is that now here we are 5 years later. The fight's going to happen. He agreed to blood testing. He agreed to the PED testing. But we're here now, and all I know is he's smaller. I mean, I trust my eyes. You know, forget about all the other stuff. I trust the common sense test. I look at him, he's smaller. He's not as destructive. He's not that seek and destroy guy. He's not as aggressive. You know, he doesn't have the power he had back then. Now, the natural puncher is still Pacquiao. He's the guy that was born to be the puncher. But now, in this fight, he's not scoring a knockout. For me, in this fight, he wins a decision, but he doesn't score a knockout. If there's a knockout scored, I got to tell you the truth. It'd be Floyd. Only because, and listen, Floyd doesn't make his living knocking guys out. I understand that. He doesn't, but he throws concise punches. He throws timing punches, and timing punches can hurt you. And now, and accurate punches. Concise means accurate, by the way. Just so you know. And he's the bigger guy now. So right now in this fight, you'd have to change the labels and say, if you want to go into those areas and label somebody the puncher, in this particular fight, it'd have to be Mayweather.
Okay. I have spoken to Fred. I'll let you go in just a second. I've spoken to Freddie Roach about this. He believes that after Manny's spiritual conversion about 5 years ago, he began pulling punches in fights and taking it easy on opponents that he could have put away. You and I have discussed this before. Freddie talked to me about it. He believes that Manny just simply doesn't like what Floyd stands for. So his killer instinct, which Manny talked about yesterday, has come back for this fight. I don't think he'll toy with Floyd Mayweather if he gets him in trouble. So I still believe the puncher, the natural-born puncher, is still there. And I believe he wants this knockout worse than anything he's ever wanted in his boxing career.
I'm sure he wants it. That doesn't mean he's going to get it. But I'm sure that he does want it. But listen, this is not to be a wise guy or to be disparaging towards anybody's beliefs and anybody's conversion. But when you talk about religion conversion, did that coincide with the same time that he got knocked out by Marquez?
No, it was way before that.
No, but what I'm saying is, for me, the religion conversion, changing the way you think about life, the way you treat people, the way you conduct yourself every day, that's to be applauded, that you care about those things. But from a boxing standpoint, I have to stand on the ground that I walk on, that I live on. And the ground that I live on, that I walk on, that I've been in for 40 years, is that it's more likely that some of that aggression and some of those bad intentions, some of that confidence of throwing those big punches was probably taken away when he got knocked out by Marquez. Because when you get knocked out and you fall face first, you know what? That does something to you. That changes you. That makes you think.
Wait, are you switching your pick now on him?
No.
Teddy, may I say something real quick?
No. Listen, I said from the beginning that the easiest pick for me would be to take Floyd. That would be easy pick. But I'm not here to do easy picks. I'm here to make an argument, Teddy. If I think intellectually somebody, especially an underdog, can win, I can make an argument that Pacquiao can win.
Let me close this segment out by saying this. Number one, that religious conversion and all of this stuff, George Foreman went through that too. Ultimately knocked out Michael Moorer, but it didn't stop him from losing to Evander Holyfield. That doesn't mean you're going to win. That's number one. No disrespect.
Right.
Number two, when you talk about Floyd, yes, he's bigger. Yes, he's stronger. We get that. But also the one thing, and Teddy, you know this, and I know we got to go, but when you are coming in, sharp, accurate, concise punches,
and that's what I
hurt even more because you're coming into the punch. Manny Pacquiao, the chances of him catching Floyd coming in are slim to none because of how cautious Floyd can be.
Unless
he's not coming.
Fakes him. If he fakes him,
that's right.
You know what can happen?
Fakes him, feint him.
You can counterpunch the counterpuncher.
Yes, you
could. Feint him, you get him to lead, and then you counterpunch the counterpuncher. For me, as a trainer, that's one of the things I bring. And to finish, to his point, to his astute point, when Mr. Foreman, when George Foreman, the great George Foreman, when he made his religious conversion, that was right after he got knocked down by Jimmy Young. By the way, that right hand that hit him, maybe that showed him a little bit of a light that actually brought him a little further to his conversion, where later on he became a different George, a George that sold hamburgers, that sold grills, all that stuff, and did great things, won the heavyweight title later on. But that right hand might have helped him see a little light.
Peaceful protests gave way to rioting in Baltimore following the death of Freddie Gray on April 19th. Gray died of spinal cord and other injuries sustained while in police custody. And then as a result, obviously there was some unrest in Boston and in Baltimore, and our colleague, Ray Lewis, had to talk about it.
Violence is not the answer. Violence has never been the answer. Freddie Gray, we don't do nothing for him doing this. We know there's a deeper issue. We know what the jungle looks like. But this isn't it. It's enough of us in the streets trying to change what's going on. Baltimore, get off the streets. Kids, go home. Stay home. You don't have no right to do what you're doing to this city. Too many hardworking people build this city.
Obviously, Ray Lewis, the Baltimore Raven for 17 seasons, that was his plea for peace. Meanwhile, for the very first time in Major League Baseball history, they will have the game tonight. The Orioles will play, actually, this afternoon, but there will be no crowd. That is by design. Stephen A., I'll start with you first. I think we all want to share our comments about what's happening in Baltimore, but what was your reaction?
Well, first of all, I was proud of my brother Ray Lewis for taking the initiative to, spread the message that he spread. We all know he's a future Hall of Fame. He starred in Baltimore for 17 years. Nobody's flawless, neither is he. But his conscience, being conscientious about his community at large, is something that should be commended. I did the same thing on my radio show yesterday on Sirius XM. I see a lot of athletes are trying to do the same. And you just look at what's transpiring, and something needs to be said. We got a lot of folks out there that are suffering and going through trials and tribulations. And we talk about police brutality. We have to understand the difference between police brutality and a brutal act by a particular police officer. When you say police brutality, what you're doing is you're inciting a nation of individuals out there to go and act in a very belligerent and, dare I say, criminal fashion against law enforcement officials. And where do you think that's going to get them? What do you think is going to happen to them? Do you really, really think that you can go up against law enforcement officials? First of all, you're wrong. And more importantly than anything else, you're not going to win. And if you lose, you're not going to just lose in terms of a battle with them. You may lose your life. And so we need to be cognizant of that, and we need to spread the message to them that, again, violence is not the answer. And then when you get into the rioters, the looters, those engaging in vandalism, the part that I find incredibly disgusting is how anybody out there could sit there and support those kind of actions. Our president, Barack Obama stated it best. They should be treated like criminals. You are victimizing and vandalizing your own community. The very people that you're sitting there and claiming to be in unison with in terms of being victims, not having your needs, your desires addressed or what have you, are the very people you're looting and vandalizing and all of that other stuff. It's irresponsible, it's criminal, it's unnecessary, it's wrong, and that needs to be said. The other thing that I'd like to say is this. On many, many occasions, we are so quick to point out the things that professional athletes do wrong. But by and large, the vast majority of them are doing the right things. When I think about a Dwayne Wade, when I think about a Kobe Bryant, when I think about a LeBron James, when I think about a Carmelo Anthony, who also is from Baltimore and spoke out against this, the list goes on and on. You have successful individuals that do serve as an example of what you should be striving not only to do, but to be, because of the way they've grown. The maturation process has infected their life, and the way they go about the business of conducting themselves on a day-to-day basis. And it ain't just because they're successful. They're successful because they were wise enough to know how to conduct themselves before they became successful. So these are all the things that I would think that people would look at and recognize and appreciate, because we got some problems out here, just like Ray Lewis said. We certainly have some problems within the African American community, but one of the biggest problems we have is that we're not looking inward. We're busy looking outside at everybody else, what everyone else has done to us, what history has done to us, how it has affected us, etc., etc. But guess what? I'm here to tell you something. I haven't heard this said, Skip, on the airwaves. Our ancestors, considering our history and what they had to go through and the sacrifices that they had to make to get us to this point, our ancestors will be ashamed of how we're conducting ourselves.
That's fair.
And it needs to be said, and it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be stopped. Because I see a whole bunch of young brothers and sisters out here right now. They're here with us. Yep. They wouldn't act that way. They wouldn't act that way. There's no excuse for this, and it's a no-win proposition. You are going to lose if you continue to conduct yourself this way, and more importantly, if you pick up the phone, go on Twitter or social media or whatever, and condone this type of behavior. That's hooliganism. That is criminal activity going on, and it is against our own community. There are elder black folks who are suffering at the hands of these looters, vandalizers, etc. Law enforcement is going to deal with them.
Stephen A., you make some really good points. You talk about frustration. You say our ancestors would be ashamed, and I think that is a fair way to describe what's happening when we're talking about riots. And Skip, I've shared this with you. I grew up through the riots.
Yep.
I remember that was the scariest feeling that I've ever had, the saddest feeling that I've ever had, to watch our community literally be burned to shreds. And at the end of the day, for days, weeks, months, we had nothing. So I don't understand, in the midst of all of your frustration, I know you want to speak out, and I know you want people to understand your point, but there has to be a better way. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you'll realize there's nothing left. That's where you live. No one else cares about your community except for you. So if you don't take pride in it, then what is there? So, well, Stephen A., I appreciate what you said. Skip, your reaction to what's happening.
My 2 cents. I don't know Ray the way you know Ray. But when I watched that video of him yesterday, it struck me that that was a role that Ray Lewis was born to fill for that city. That was some powerful fire and brimstone message that he used almost through a veritable loudspeaker that can be the internet today. And it was, I hope, heard loudly and clearly by all those it was aimed at. And I, too, loved what our President Obama said, Stephen A. They aren't protesting, they're stealing. They're stealing, okay? I've always loved what LeBron James has said about any of these type of issues. The message gets lost when they turn violent. The anger those folks were feeling is perfectly fine, but expressing that anger by wrecking a CVS pharmacy it's not effective because all we see now is the video of the burned down, wrecked, looted pharmacy, and the message gets lost.
But there were days of peaceful protest.
Sure.
Unfortunately, it culminated.
Well, are we talking about a few here? Is that what we're talking about? A few?
I feel
or the
like
many?
it was organized, and then there were a few
Okay.
that took it to another level.
Well, is that how you saw it? I don't know how to characterize that. It
Well,
usually is the few harm the many.
Well, usually the few get the many involved in some kind of capacity.
Yeah.
And maybe somehow, some way, maybe one of these individuals can explain to me how stealing a bottle of soda improves your community, because that's what we saw people walking out of there. It's just ridiculous. But I also think, my man, chill out. Hold on. The point that I'm trying to make to you is this. When you sit here and you look at this, particularly when you look at the looting and the vandalism or whatever, you know, sometimes the message that gets disseminated is more powerful than the actual incident itself. If you are seen stealing, and there's a whole bunch of black people there, and they're running away and they're stealing or whatever. Now, those are the actions of a few. But the problem is it taints all of these law-abiding citizens that are here. They look at, society looks at all of us, and they say, is that how you're acting? Is that what you are about? Is that what you care about? And then we tend to generalize, and it gets so many more than those select few in trouble. And I just sit there and I find myself in amazement because, again, we will get on professional athletes all the time. LeBron James, Derrick Rose, guys like that stepped up whether it's Trayvon Martin, whether it's Michael Brown, whether it's Mr. Gardner in Harlem. Them brothers stepped up and highlighted and brought attention to an issue just so it could be addressed. But somehow, some way, you have a few that exacerbates the situation because of their ill intent, and they do far more damage to us than the benefits that those guys put forth a concerted effort to try and bring to the forefront. It's pretty sad, but I believe you address issues by making sure you hold folks accountable, because in the end, that is the ultimate language that folks understand. They're criminals, treat them like it, and deal with them accordingly, and we'll go from there.
ESPN Radio, bringing you directly to the biggest events in sports.
Center field, well hit, Hunter back, out of here!
From opening day of baseball,
Throw to the plate, safe at the plate!
right through the World Series.
For the third time in 5 seasons, the San Francisco Giants are the champions of the baseball world.
Whether it's LeBron, Chris Paul, or Kevin Durant, when the NBA tips off, ESPN Radio is right there when a champion is crowned.
We have a new world champion. The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
And when the magic of bowl season arrives, ESPN Radio is your home for the new college football playoff.
The college football playoff first national champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
The biggest events in sports can be found right here on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to First Take. We're on the road. MGM Grand Pool Complex. We're here a few days leading up to the big fight, which is Saturday, May 2nd. It's time now for Carrie's Court. But before we actually talk to the fans who want to debate with Skip and Stephen A., we want to remind you this is your opportunity to be a part of our show. If you're here at the MGM Grand Pool Complex, or even if you're at home watching the show, please send us your photos to the hashtag FT in Vegas. We'll try to get you on the show throughout the week. Meantime, in between time, it's time for TV. This is why this guy's standing here next to me. His name is Mikhail. Mikhail, you have a question for Skip Bayless. I'll let you go first.
Yes. Hello, Skip. Hello, Stephen A. First, though, Stephen A., I know how much you hate how athletes cannot stay off the weed, man. So
ask the question.
Well, I asked, how far do you think Shane Ray will drop in the draft?
It's a great question. To your point, and I would like to get your response to this also. We had Shane Ray on the show, what was it, 3-4 days ago?
Yep.
And we were all very taken by this young man. You asked him a great question about, can you distance yourself from his past, from his Kansas City neighborhood that he grew up in? He said, absolutely. I forget what the answer exactly was, but clearly he hasn't quite distanced himself that far from
the element, not his community, from the element.
Exactly. Yeah, you got it right. So how far will he drop? I don't know for sure because it only takes one team to snatch him somewhere in the first round. My guess is that he's got a toe issue and a weed issue now. And the weed issue came so close to the draft that it's going to shake some people up. Some people had him as high as their top 5 on their board. He can play. Some people had him at least in their top 10. I'm going to say he falls into the 20s. I don't think he'll make it to the second round. But again, the toe and the weed so close to the draft will cost this young man millions of dollars.
I agree. And I said this on my radio show yesterday, and I'll say it again. I almost cried when I heard the news. And I ain't the most emotional dude in the world, but I could not believe when I heard he got in trouble with the speeding and they found weed. I felt so hoodwinked, so deceived. This guy, we did a 30 for 30, ESPN did a 30 for 30 story. You saw the great story about where he came from, how he basically rose from the ashes, the obstacles that he had because his daddy wasn't around, that the murder factory is ways from the outskirts of Kansas City. You know, his mother, all the trials and tribulations she went through, hard for taking care of her son, all the sacrifices she made. He spoke about how she meant the world to him. And you do this, you come on national TV and sell yourself that way, and within a day or two, because it was like 2 days later that this happened, you get busted at 5:30 in the morning.
No good.
With some weed less than a week before the draft. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm on the verge, and I know this is not good. I'm on the verge of losing faith in all these brothers. I'm serious. I really am. I'm talking about the young brothers in the college football. I'm not talking about us out here. You understand, pounding the pavement, working day to day. I'm talking about dudes with millions of dollars at their doorsteps that are throwing it away because of weed, man. Let's go to the next question.
I understand your frustration, Stephen A. I got a lady here who's also very frustrated. Her name is Maureen. She is from California. Perhaps you should ask Skip this question. It may make you upset with his response, but maybe you'll ask Skip the question and see if, in fact, he can give you some hope.
Sure. So after the NFL draft, thoughts on whether Adrian Peterson will still be a Viking?
And where are you from, Marie?
She's from California. But she's been a Viking fan for as long as she can remember.
My father-in-law loves the Vikings.
Got it.
So give her some hope.
Marie, my heart says Adrian Peterson will be where he wants to be, which is Dallas, Texas, playing for Jerry's Cowboys. But I must admit, the signs are all telling my head that he will be a Viking because the Vikings are adamant, and it is their call. They will not trade Adrian Peterson. The Cowboys are starting to dig in, both Stephen and Jerry Jones, saying, we don't want to spend a high pick to bring in a, quote, veteran player, and we all know who that veteran player might be. So 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4 to me. It equals Minneapolis to me. It equals Vikings. So I'm going to guess that he is still a Viking, though I'm sure Jerry will try one last time on draft night to pull something off.
Adrian Peterson is the best running back in football. Adrian Peterson is also an individual who signed a contract for that length of time. And Adrian Peterson, no disrespect whatsoever, is also responsible for the troubles that have come his way. He is in no position to flex muscle and to insist on doing anything other than playing football. He's already lost millions because of what transpired. In the court of public opinion, the Vikings have a considerably strong edge. He has to accept that, go out there and play, and let time subside all the momentum so you can end up going where you want to go.
Although I got to defend him quickly here, he did feel that some bridges got burned with some management people, the Vikings, that he was betrayed by them.
I agree with him, but he still signed a contract. Honor it.
All right, my man James from Patterson, California. He's been chatting me up the whole time to say Patterson, so we got it in for you. You have a question for Stephen A. Smith. What is it?
Yes, Stephen A. Well, first off, let me give a shout-out to the Texas Southern University of Houston, Texas.
You're going to get ripped. Go.
So this question is about the Houston Rockets. Will they make it out of the second round?
No.
I agree.
Why not, Stephen A.?
You know what? I should take that back. I think Houston could potentially beat San Antonio, so I'm going to wait and reserve the right to make that pick. I think the Clippers would beat them, though. But we'll see. I just don't believe they're going to the finals. They're going home early at some point. But we'll wait and see. But I'm leaning towards no.
I will go on record right here, right now. If my Spurs do advance to the second round, the Rockets are going down. They have no shot of beating my Spurs, and I'll tell you why. Kawhi Leonard is a designated James Harden stopper. He did a number on him the 2 times they played late in the year. Remember, on April the 8th, James Harden shot 6 for 15 against my Spurs, and then 2 nights later, 5 for 19. He has problems with Kawhi Leonard. That's a huge advantage for my Spurs.
Yeah, but other people on the Rockets have stepped up.
Our next guest, ladies and gentlemen, is a former middleweight champion. He has 32 knockouts during his very storied career. You might know him as B-Hop or Billy when Skip is being feisty. We're all having a little fun here. I have a very lovely crowd. They're very kind to you.
I'm ready to fight tomorrow myself.
Oh, you are?
You hear all this crowd, you know?
All
that
right.
energy. We have the energy in Vegas.
So we have to put you on the hook, B-Hop. Tell us why Mayweather will win the fight.
Well, I think Mayweather will win the fight because of not only his IQ, not only because of his style. I just think it's time that he showed the whole world and all the doubters that believe that he was ducking for 4 or 5 years, that it's going to come to pass right now. He's going to make sure they take care of business. Because I know that when you're at that level and you know you got to prove something, you don't have too much talking. And that's why Mayweather has been to some out of character, because he hasn't been the Mayweather they used to seeing far as the promotion part about it. And when you focus like that, it's trouble. It's trouble for the other guy.
Okay.
It's going down.
Okay.
B-Hop, my man, B-Hop.
B-Hop.
Yeah.
B-Hop? He's B-Hop or Billy?
This man sitting across from me has subjected me to watching the knockout of my man Manny Pacquiao again and again. I don't want to see it again. I don't want to see it again.
I've been watching.
Say it again.
Wait.
You guys are funny.
Wait.
They're yelling sweet.
You said a couple of weeks back they should burn the tape of this knockout. It does not apply. Wait.
This crowd is something.
You said that tape should be burned because it will not factor in to this fight on this Saturday night.
Absolutely. First of all, when you watch that fight with Marquez and Pacquiao was winning the fight all the way up to that round.
Yeah.
And Pacquiao caught him coming in. And Pacquiao, he jumps before he strikes. Marquez timed him, knocked out, over. But the accumulation before we got to the knockout wasn't on Pacquiao. Pacquiao wasn't getting beat up the first, second, third round, whatever.
Well, he actually got dropped in the third round.
But listen to this. He got a flash knockdown. Flash knockdown like a flash.
He got caught with a right. It was a push down.
But
He got pushed down.
Come on. I'll say a flash knockdown.
It was a push down.
My point is that was one knockout that ended everything, lights out. To me, that's not effective. That's not like, it was a knockout, but that wasn't a wear and tear. That wasn't like he was getting beat up and then he got knocked out, then his career is over. He got hit with one punch, it was over. I don't look at that as being a situation where, Pacquiao is done. He don't have no fights left that's going to be on this level. He earned to be in this position. But I believe Pacquiao recovered. Some fighters do, some fighters don't.
I must interject. And I got on you. You weren't here, so I'm glad you're sitting next to me because I'm going to say it to your face because you know I love you. Here's the deal.
Well, before you do that, take your glasses off. Now go.
You are. Skip Bayless. Hold on. Skip Bayless. Your eyes have been messed with you. Put on my glasses. There we go.
About to go down.
All right. There we go. Here's the deal.
Wait, you look like a superhero.
You came on first take. I understand the point that you're making, and it's very sound. But you did come on first take after Pacquiao got knocked out. And, quote, You said.
Let's go.
That fight usually said that could be like a 10-fight recovery. You
It
said
can be.
that's what you said.
It could be. But, there's always a but. I hear you use the word but a lot.
Yes, he does.
My thing is, that's true what I said. Because when I see knockouts like this, I normally see it coming. The round before he got knocked out, you normally get a hit. Oh, he's ready to get knocked out. He's getting beat up first, and then he's going to get knocked out.
Get beaten
that's
up.
what exactly.
No.
So that's what I was explaining.
Are you going to wear those?
To Stephen A. You look good. I was explaining to Stephen A. that there's accumulation of punishment. Then a knockout is 10 times more than getting hit with one shot and then you're out.
Right.
I've seen fighters never recover from getting beat up from round and round.
My problem with wearing these glasses is the longer I wear them, the more I think Mayweather's going to win.
So,
and I can't, I got to get them off. They're bothering me. There's something wrong with them. They're just wrong. They don't make me see clearly anymore.
It's just you clearly have no style.
Welcome back to First Take, ladies and gentlemen. MGM Grand Pool Complex. The show's just about over. First Take fans are amazing. There's definitely a fighting crowd here. Very chatty. Thank you for joining us at home and being with us here. We will be here all week. As you probably know, Floyd Mayweather calls Las Vegas his home. So check out this sign that's on the side of the MGM. It says, "Home of the Champion." What? Boxing enthusiast and former Friday Night Fights host Brian Kinney was on Mike and Mike yesterday, and he also said that he has an edge, he being Floyd, with the referee Kenny Bayless. No relation to you.
No, he's a very distant relative of mine, Kenny Bayless.
Because he's a brother from another mother.
Yes,
specifically.
But he's been known to be a little soft on Floyd Mayweather Jr., taking it a little easy on him when he refs his fight.
Is that what you've heard?
Yes, I have.
Okay, all right. Well, so tell me, do you feel as if there's any home ring advantage?
Okay, first of all, we arrived out here about 4:30 a.m. Vegas time, out here on the set, here poolside, as did a lot of you, and we appreciate that very much. We do appreciate that. Although for most of these people, 4:30 a.m. was just the start of the evening, right, in Vegas? Right?
I saw people getting up, getting ready.
But I looked up into the sky, and like the Batman symbol up in the sky, I see Home of the Champion looming above us on MGM Grand. And Stephen A., it made me a little queasy because I'm thinking, does Manny Pacquiao have like home ring disadvantage here? Is this like an away game for Manny Pacquiao? Because we know Floyd lives here. We know Floyd lives at MGM Grand. We know he has fought again and again and again at MGM Grand. This is his home court. This is his home ring. So I say, are we sure this is going to be a fair fight that he's going to get? I don't know about that. I don't know.
Wait a second. Are you backing off your pick?
I don't know.
Are you backing off of your pick?
Yeah. Is it going to be a fair fight,
He's
Mr.
backing
Smith?
He's backing off his pick now.
I'm not
the magnitude of this fight mandates that nobody's going to get away with anything. The world is watching. This is the biggest fight in a quarter century, arguably. Nobody's getting away with anything. Floyd Mayweather can't rely on anything. Manny Pacquiao can't rely on anything. The Bayless, the referee, he ain't going to be able to do but so much. It ain't going to be all of that nonsense. It's about Mayweather and Pacquiao. And even Mayweather said it best when he was asked by our very own Jeremy Schaap about Freddie Roach talking junk, Floyd Mayweather Sr. talking junk. And Floyd said, well, my dad doesn't have to fight. Or Roger Mayweather's uncle, he said, my uncle doesn't have to fight. I have to fight. You know, when it all comes down to, it comes down to me and Pacquiao. He accepts it. He's not looking for an edge. He's not looking for some home court advantage. There's going to be a lot of Manny Pacquiao fans up in the MGM Grand. Floyd's going to have some too. But it's going to be packed with Manny Pacquiao fans as well. The fighters have nobody to lean on but themselves come Saturday night.
Okay, so you're telling me that I should have no qualms about two judges out of the three who are from Nevada.
Okay.
Right? Zero qualms.
Because even if it's a questionable
controversial decision. That implies that the fight is close, which is all anybody care about. Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather Jr. better be concerned about getting knocked out. That's what they have to be. It's not going to come. I don't believe it's coming down to the judges. I believe somebody's going to fall. I just happen to believe it's going to be Pacquiao.
So you are, on this day, Wednesday, you are leaning toward a Mayweather knockout is what I'm hearing.
I'm not leaning towards Mayweather knockout, and I'm not leaning towards anything this week. I said weeks ago, Floyd Mayweather will take Manny Pacquiao out in the 11th round. And I stand by that.
I'm going to save my round for Friday's show.
Okay, your pick.
But Floyd is going to go down. And one big reason that I believe Manny and Freddie Roach are going to see to it that he goes down is because of home ring advantage. They don't want to leave this one to the judges in Nevada. Remember, Manny Pacquiao is not from the United States of America. He's from the Philippines. He knows that full well. He knows that he's on Floyd's turf, maybe with a couple of judges who might be slightly pro-Floyd, because Floyd has brought in billions, it seems like, of dollars to this community. Am I right about that?
Let me tell you this much stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think you're realizing something. Manny Pacquiao won't even care if he loses by decision. Manny Pacquiao is coming to take Floyd out. Manny Pacquiao wants Floyd to fall. He doesn't want it left up to the judges. He'll be dissatisfied if it's left up to the judges. It won't matter. When you get robbed by Timothy Bradley, I mean, what else is there to say? So the point that I'm trying to make to you is that in the end, Manny Pacquiao is coming for a knockout. He doesn't realize he's coming to get knocked out.
Yep. That's it?
In conclusion, the show is wrapping up, but I like to impromptu
you're stopping
survey.
it because there's a technical knockout of my partner here?
Who won today? Was it Skip Bayless? Give him a round of applause. Or,
for the record.
Or was it Stephen A. Smith? For the record.
For the record.
Wait, she won? Are you saying she won? That's it. That's it.
Thank you, everyone, ladies. Thank you. Not being funny, you would have for the record. Go ahead.
I can give less than a damn what any Pacquiao supporters have to say.
Stop it.
Pacquiao supporters, I could care less.
Stop it.
Y'all will be wrong,
In all
too.
seriousness, you're always spoke by the crowd. We thank you from the bottom of our heart. You know you got up early. You had to be here. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you at home for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. Bye-bye, guys.